reducing wastage. So therefore, manufacturers, retailers, chefs, and the food services sectors are taking on board the positive properties of pulses. And with 299 finished food products, so obviously from soil to plate, using pulse flours were launched in 2014 alone, new products, and a further 129 between January and March of last year. We're waiting for updated figures only in August this year. However, with all those good, great, wonderful things with pulses, there are certain challenges from a marketing perspective. And they are quite, some of them are quite debatable, and I might be looked and frowned upon, or some of them you guys might agree with me. So obviously, despite the agricultural, environmental, nutritional, and health developments, the production and consumption patterns of pulses show a worrisome trend. So global trends and yields of chickpeas and pigeon peas, two grain legumes that play an important role in food and nutrition security of poor and developing countries of Asia and Africa, are low and have been relatively stagnant for much of the last 2 decades. India is the prime contributor to these trends, owing to its large share in the global production and consumption of these crops. So pulse production in India remained relatively flat until 2011, with green revolution crops, they call them, such as paddy and wheat, crowding pulses out completely. And that is also because of the change in social ideas of the way people are eating, due to the fact of social media, internet, third world populations going to second or first world populations, gaining more access to information. So where there wasn't a McDonald's, they'd rather eat a McDonald's. And there would be less of a certain particular ingredient required to make an unhealthy meal, as opposed to those people are eating healthy meals. So therefore, we don't need so many pulses, we'll rather grow these things. So they basically crowd out where pulses used to be. So it is actually probably a lot to do and fault with marketing, by the way. The reasons are manifold, including high production risk. So pulses obviously, and as mentioned by some of you this morning, are susceptible to abiotic and biotic stresses, and scattered production and consumption centers, and very unorganized processing and marketing sectors. And that is very much from a third world point of view, which they have generally started figuring out from a first world point of view. Moving on. However, the consumption rate of the poorest rural areas to lower to middle income groups rose between 2009 and 2010, as decline continued in the upper middle class and the highest income groups. Notably, supply has failed to keep pace with the demand from an exploding population, and in addition, pulses are grown as residual rain-fed crops on marginal lands with little or no modern yield-enhancing inputs. Very much so. So this low priority accorded to pulse crops means that the production of these crops is much more uncertain, and production increases are limited without smart investments in technology, institutional arrangements, and government policies. This could be good reference and examples to learn from for South Africa and sub-Saharan Africa. In the developed world, many countries such as Canada and Australia have developed pulse-producing hubs owing to favorable agroecological conditions, scientific farming techniques, and streamlined market linkages. And it is clear that the issues limiting the development of pulse value chains for achieving sustainable production and healthy diets are multidimensional. So the challenge, a big one, is investment. It's a serious challenge facing our region, and if it's taken seriously by government and policymakers, it could be a potential milestone in the fight against hunger, We as educators, all of us, for the future generation, must act now to turn